Welcome to Escape the Cage. I'm your host, Rotten Ronnie, with my co-host,
Mad Matt.
And we got Daniel Bryan's theme music going for ours today because of the breaking news that he retired this week.
Very, very sad news, guys.
I mean, that was totally unexpected. You know, I mean, he was talking about wanting to keep going, that he wasn't going to give up anytime soon, and then all of a sudden just a tweet goes out that Daniel Bryan's retiring. I mean, what's going on?
Yeah, I think what's kind of crazy is that, last week we were just talking about that, about how, maybe there's this conspiracy type theory, about how they're not trying to bring Daniel Bryan back because of, like, either Roman Reigns or, something like that. But there really was, something there. There really is actually, glad that he, found that out about his concussion before he, suffered some more injuries.
Yeah, Daniel Bryan actually appeared on ESPN Sports Center Tuesday night with Jonathan Coachman, and
Coach!
He was talking about his retirement from professional wrestling. He revealed some startling details about it. I guess the doctors have been able to document at least 10 concussions, but they think he might have had more. I mean, imagine in Ring of Honor how many concussions he was probably racking up.
What did he say? Didn't he say he had like 3 or 4 concussions in his first 6 months?
Yeah, it's like I guess some people are more concussion prone than others.
Yeah, that's insane.
So they said they were able to document 10 concussions, but he had a recent EEG brain scan that revealed some slowing brain function, as well as a small subacute or chronic lesion in the area of the brain responsible for causing seizures. In fact, he's also been suffering from post-concussion seizures that he's been not talking about. So I wonder if that has to do with his switch, how if you've watched Total Divas, he's very, tries to live the vegan lifestyle, tries to get natural. I wonder if that was just like an attempt to kind of correct this in a natural way so he didn't maybe have to do surgery or any kind of medicine.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's just kind of the way he lives his life now. And, a lot of people really are moving, to those herbal remedies, natural, ways of fixing things, A lot of people just don't trust doctors.
Yeah, I mean, why would you? One of the main things, on top of that, though, one of the other things that I kind of found was weird is the same day that he retired, they released a Tide Pods commercial with Daniel Bryan as the spokesperson. I guess I'll even play a little bit of that for you right now. That was the wrong clip. 1 second. Daniel Bryan. Here we go.
We're going through our 37 pages of
clips
here.
In a world dominated by giants, the talent scouts didn't think I measured up. They underestimated me.
I like the tone. Sweet.
Yeah, very special.
I started performing when I was 18. Traveled the world honing my craft. Mexico, Japan, in high school gyms and sold-out arenas.
Aww.
They said I was a wrestler's wrestler, but I was too small for the big time. Then, after 10 years of hard, tireless work, I finally got the call. Now there was a new question.
What laundry detergent will I use?
Material?
Laugh at me.
Yes. Yes. Yes!
So that was Daniel Bryan's Tide Pods commercial.
Tide is all natural, by the way.
It's not. That's the fucked up part. That's where I'm like, that's what I was going to kind of talk about is, so why the fuck does somebody like Daniel Bryan, who's supposed to be Mr. Composting, I mean, on one of the episodes of Total Divas, he was going to have Bree shit in a special toilet so they could compost their own turds.
Gotta compost those turds, though.
I know, man. Well, there's actually reports of children being harmed by the liquid in the laundry packets that Daniel Bryan is now promoting, and these instances continue to grow despite years of warnings and packaging changes. These are from Consumer Reports. They even recommend that these pods should never be used in households where children live or visit. Concerns about these packets that are often called pods.
He doesn't have any kids yet, so it's fine.
That's true, actually, I guess, yeah. Maybe Daniel Bryan ate him, and that's why he's having problems.
Maybe.
Have been growing since 2012, with frequent reports of child poisonings and injuries first popped up. In typical cases, children will bite or poke through the thin, dissolvable packet membranes and get squirts of concentrated detergent down their throats and in their eyes. On top of that, they get much sicker than the children exposed to regular laundry detergent. In 2013, U.S. Poison Control Centers logged 10,877 calls about children under the age of 6 who ingested or inhaled detergent from the packets on their skin. And the trend only seems to be going up.
So that's what kids are doing this day to get high.
I guess so, man. I mean, with all the different weird drugs and things are going on, I guess weed and alcohol ain't cutting it anymore.
What happened to those good old-fashioned whippets?
I know, man. I mean, what's going on here? Procter & Gamble has issued warnings. It just kind of threw me off that someone like Daniel Bryan, who, I was getting behind, I'm behind. I support 100%. I don't hate Daniel Bryan, but I'm just kind of questioning someone that's supposed to be so eco-friendly doing a Tide Pods commercial.
Well, here, let me give my state on that. He just retired, right? So he wants to still keep his face in the public eye as much as he can. So if something comes up for him to do, he's going to do it.
Even if it's against his morals?
Even if it's against how many wrestlers have done things against their morals?
Well, see, I'm not talking about other wrestlers. I'm talking about Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan actually stands for something. I mean, you saw that the fans look at that crowd granted they were in his hometown, but there's not anybody that really has a bad word to say about Daniel Bryan.
I can't.
So I would like to see. I just kind of would have liked to have seen him maybe stick to his guns and kind of stand for something.
Maybe we'll get Daniel on the show and we can ask him.
Because what's kind of funny is, again, with Total Divas, there's a segment on there where Brie and Nikki were offered to do a Carl's Jr. commercial. And Brie turned the Carl's Jr. commercial down, turned it down, said no, because it was against her beliefs and the way she lives.
Wait, Brie turned it down?
Brie turned it down.
But definitely Nikki didn't.
Nikki didn't. She wanted to do it, but I think that they wanted. Yeah, I think they wanted both of them.
She's a freak.
Exactly.
She's super kinky.
Yeah. So with Brie turning that down, but then Daniel Bryan going and doing a Tide Pods commercial, I don't know if there's just some inconsistency in some views. I don't know. It just kind of stuck out to me as a little weird.
It is kind of weird.
It's a little odd. And then the other thing that I noticed about Daniel Bryan on Monday, which was a little interesting.
His new haircut?
Yeah, I guess the new haircut and the beard. See, I was thinking like once the beard retired, he had to retire.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's kind of it.
Just retire the beard, not respect the beard.
Did you notice, though, besides the words grateful, Daniel Bryan never actually said thank you to the fans? Did you notice that?
I didn't notice that, actually.
Yeah, I actually went back and watched his farewell speech twice. He did say he was grateful. He did say that he described all the things that he's been able to do as a professional wrestler. But the one thing that a lot of the wrestlers have done that have retired and had their speeches on Raw is they give a definite thank you to the fans. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, we're the ones buying their shit. We're the ones that are putting our asses in the seats. We're the ones that are going to see him. And if we didn't, they'd still be working the indies.
Yeah, but I mean, let's be realistic, though. I mean, Daniel Bryan has thanked the fans so many times over and over. I mean, he knows that the fans have gotten him where he needs to be. I mean, and maybe it didn't quite come out, thank you, but I mean, you could tell he was super, super thankful for everybody.
So you think the speech as a whole was a solid thank you versus actually having to say thank you?
Absolutely. I mean, the first thing he did, he closed his eyes and just felt it. He even told us that's the first time I've been able to feel that. That is amazing.
That was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, I think he's definitely thankful. He's thankful for everything. I mean, Daniel Bryan is one of the most humble wrestlers in the history of wrestling.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you. And I'll be honest, another part of me just thinks that, I see Vince McMahon seeing dollar signs in his head with Daniel Bryan and all the, the Daniel Bryan week. I know they're going to be releasing some Daniel Bryan collection on the WWE Network.
I rewatched a bunch of Daniel Bryan stuff, I ain't going to lie.
Okay, yeah, there you go. You're catching up on it.
I was watching WrestleMania 30 this morning. I watched the Triple H match with Daniel Bryan, and then I watched him winning the title.
Yeah, I mean...
and the ladder match from WrestleMania 31, too.
Yeah, we were actually at WrestleMania 30.
Damn right we were.
Yeah, we actually went to WrestleMania 30. We got to see Daniel Bryan in the opening match with Triple H, which was an amazing match. I mean, even just between Daniel Bryan and Triple H. I mean, I'll be honest, I was a little hesitant with the main event being Batista, Randy Orton, and then Daniel Bryan. But to be honest, I don't even remember what Randy Orton or Batista did in the whole match. Daniel Bryan just stole the show.
Batista or Blue-tista?
Batista. I'm sorry.
Batista. Blue.
Blue Batista.
Red Batista.
And Randy Barton.
Randy Barton.
Hey,
but real talk though. I mean, what was? Because I don't think we've actually really talked about this. I mean, how crazy was that feeling in that building?
It was amazing.
It was amazing. I mean, I was there on Bourbon Street the night before, and the feeling was just crazy. Everyone was going for Daniel Bryan the night before on Bourbon Street.
Yeah.
And I was just drunk as hell walking around chanting yes with thousands upon thousands of people. It was.
The last time I think I've seen a crowd get behind one wrestler was Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Absolutely. I don't think there's been any wrestler Not CM Punk when he was at his hottest. No one
CM
that has
bitch.
actually CM bitch. Oh yeah, we're gonna get to his little
It's
vagina
CM
surgery.
bitch on this show. There's no CM Punk.
He actually just had vagina surgery.
We'll talk about that a little bit
Yes,
later.
we will. But yeah, no, Dana Bryan's one of those guys that really just connected with the fans. Not just cheered like a face, but actually they could live vicariously through him, like Stone Cold.
Exactly.
He wanted the guy, he gets to beat up his boss. Everyone hates working for their boss.
Exactly.
They try to screw him over every damn time.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with Daniel Bryan. No one thought Daniel Bryan could get there because, I actually read something interesting about Daniel Bryan. They bill him at 5'10", 210 pounds.
Yeah, they give him a couple inches.
He's
and they give
actually 5'8", about 190 pounds.
Yeah, they do that with a lot of the wrestlers, actually. They bill them up higher because, Vince has a hard-on for big, muscular guys.
Big hard on.
Big hard-on.
Big hard on.
And then
whether they have talent or not, he just gets a boner.
just constant boner, just walking around. I mean, the reason why he has to walk with the swagger is just because the boner is there constantly.
There's actually an old story about how he used to give Hercules and the Warlord handjobs. I'm just out there.
I could just see the Warlord in full Warlord gear just getting jerked off by Vince.
The Barbarian walks in.
Get it, Warlord, get it. Come on, jerk it off.
I'm not going to push you, but you're going to push me.
You're not selling it, Warlord. You're not selling it, Warlord. Come on, Warlord. And actually, so I think, what do you think? You think we covered Daniel Bryan, or how are you feeling about that? Is there anything else you want to say?
I think last thing I just kind of want to say on Daniel Bryan, just for me as a fan, I of course I just want to say thank you. The experience I had in New Orleans, the experience just from watching your career through the Indies, and definitely one of the wrestlers I'd love to meet one day. I just want to thank you for the great career and for all the memories, man.
Sell it, Warlord. Sell it, Warlord. All right, so we're gonna do like a quick little break here, and then we're gonna get into our second subject for today.
Segment, not subject.
There she is, the lady of the evening, what we've all been waiting for. Rubbing our cocks in anticipation. It's time for the main event.
Ryback confidence. Oh, God. Fuck that. Fuck my ass. Oh, yeah, hit that pussy hard. I'm coming. Oh, my God, I'm gonna come. Fuck me. Here we go.
And we are off to a great start here. It is on. We are underway.
Chris Candido's rolling over in his grave.
Welcome back to Escape the Cage. That was a little quick clip of WWE diva Sunny in her new film. I think she's up for an Academy Award this year for it.
I think she's. Hey, can I use the restroom here real quick? I need about 2 to 3 minutes in there.
You know what? Matt's gonna take a bathroom break, and I'm gonna go ahead and keep keep it going, Matt. So you got to.
Okay, I'm back.
And Matt's back. Okay, here we go. So
I actually saw the preview for that, and she looks shot the heck out.
Yeah, disgusting.
Man, she was gorgeous back in the day, bro.
Disgusting.
Man, the body Donna to a body something. I don't even know. I was actually, guys, don't lie, before the show, I was trying to think of a good line for that. I couldn't come up with one, so there you go.
I mean, I think that's just money. I mean, she just obviously needs the money. When we saw her at the wrestling reunion, she looked like leather-faced, like kind of shot out. She's got that always drunk or pilled out look in her eyes.
She is always drunk and pilled out.
Yeah, so there you go.
How many times has she been arrested in like the past couple years? Like 4?
Yeah, I think she just pled guilty to DUI charges, so I think she's going to be going to jail and doing some jail time.
Didn't her boyfriend like put a restraining order on her too or something?
Yeah, I don't know the details about that, but it sounds a little bit familiar. Do you think WWE is ever going to take her ring?
I think it's up for sale right now.
That's what I'm saying. Why doesn't it just seems like WWE would step in and take that back? Like, why would they just let her ring float around?
They wouldn't even acknowledge that China ever wrestled because of her porn, and now
yeah, and then
now
Sunny.
a Hall of Famer. It's so funny just to think about a Hall of Famer doing porn. It just kind of sounds like an old lady doing porn.
It looks like an old lady doing porn.
It does.
And she has to cover her gut with a little whatchamacallit, like a blanket or something.
Well, she did idolize Mae Young as a kid, so.
Yeah, I'd probably rather watch the Mae Young video. So let's see. So we're gonna move on. There's no reason wasting time on her. So the next thing I think we're gonna talk about is Titus O'Neil's suspension and the fact that WWE. You know what? I'm not even gonna say WWE. I'm gonna say it like it is. That Vince McMahon went and suspended their top black athlete during Black History Month for merely touching his arm.
It wasn't a touch. He grabbed it. Like, it was a nice grab.
And just kind of spun him around a little bit.
Yeah, it was like a reach around, you know?
A reach around. A Titus reach around.
Yeah.
So, but do you think Vince McMahon, I mean, I think this is a little bit of an overreaction here.
I mean, there's two ways to look at it. I think if he would have done that, it just like a whatever thing, yeah, it's kind of. But I mean, this was Daniel Bryan's freaking retirement thing, and at the very end, the last thing you see is Titus O'Neil grabbing Vince McMahon and Vince McMahon shoving him back. And his whole explanation was, "Oh, I just wanted to let Stephanie go first. Let's let Stephanie go. Let ladies first."
Yeah, I saw a couple of things like that, and that Titus said that he was just, quote, messing around. I'll read the article real fast. This is from pwinsider.com. It says, WWE superstar Titus O'Neil was sent home from last week's SmackDown taping, or this last SmackDown taping, shortly after arriving. It's being said that he had been suspended for unprofessional conduct. The reason why I wanted to bring this up is because as a wrestling fan, I've been watching wrestling for about 25 years. Matt's been watching it about the same time. And over those 25 years, there's some things about Vince McMahon that we have learned. We've talked to professional wrestlers personally. We've listened to interviews. I don't know if you guys have ever checked out any of the RF video shoot interviews. Those are really solid. If you guys have any time to check those out.
Really good. Some of the Honky Tonk Man ones.
The most honest interviews I've ever heard. And one of the things that I think people miss about Vince McMahon is that Vince McMahon isn't necessarily the nicest guy on the planet. When he comes out there in front of the crowd and he says things like, "I don't give a damn what you people want," and things like that, he's being damn near 100% serious. Vince McMahon legitimately feels that the fans are dumb and they don't know what they want, that Vince is going to tell them what they want. This is why we have instances with like a Roman Reigns and other people who are getting pushes that maybe necessarily shouldn't get pushes, like right now.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right about that. I mean, it was different, about 10 years ago. But yeah, no, they're trying to basically just create stars and say this is who you're going to like, instead of letting people organically become stars. Kind of like CM Bitch, kind of like Daniel Bryan organically became a star.
Exactly. The crowd got behind them themselves. They weren't told to get behind them.
And they kind of were starting to get behind Roman for a minute, and then they just, they push it too hard,
Well, now WWE is facing allegations of racism. I think this kind of echoes what we were talking about on one of our last shows about there being a black ceiling in WWE that African American wrestlers just cannot break.
Well, here's the thing about WWE: you got to have one to three token black guys. You have to have at least one masked luchador.
Yep.
Okay, two at the most, and then you can have kind of like a half white, half Mexican one. But other than that, they all got to be white.
What about a gay?
You can have one gay person, but he has to be black though, so you can cover both areas.
What about Darren? They had that in Darren Young, and then Darren Young got split up from Titus O'Neil for airing out his dirty laundry on Twitter with his boyfriend.
Well, yeah, Vince McMahon hates gay people.
I mean, yeah. You're not too far off from that.
Why do you think Warlord never got a push?
Because he didn't sell the hand job.
Yeah.
There's some, people are throwing out reasons why Titus was suspended. Originally, I guess his suspension was for 90 days, but I guess they've pulled it back to 60 days. Is that true?
That is true. Yes. That was for Black History Month.
Yeah, and I see what you're talking about. It says ProWrestlingSheet.com reports that Titus O'Neil was only trying to be polite when he saw Vince McMahon and Stephanie exiting side by side at the end of the Daniel Bryan retirement segment. According to sources, Titus explained to management that grabbing Vince's arm was a gesture to indicate, quote, ladies first, so Stephanie could exit the stage first when it was meant to be done in a playful manner.
Vince, get out of the way. Let Stephanie go.
Again, I think. Do you think this is a situation of, like, another thing about Vince McMahon when you've been watching wrestling for a while is that Vince thinks he's God. And
absolutely.
He thinks he's God and he thinks he's untouchable. And I think a lot of the wrestling fans nowadays may not totally understand that, because I think that Vince McMahon turned his asshole persona into the Mr. McMahon character, which really isn't, when you talk to other wrestlers that aren't up his ass, really isn't that far off from who the real Vince McMahon is.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, but if you think about it, though, I mean, let's say you're Vince McMahon. I mean, you got to have a huge ego. I mean, this dude is a billionaire. He's the owner of wrestling. Let's be honest. He owns wrestling. No one can touch him. That's why he feels like that. It's, I'm not saying he should act like that. I'm not justifying any of his actions, but,
Yeah, one of the...
He's not a humble billionaire. I mean, look at freaking Donald Trump, who, by the way, was at 3 WrestleManias, 4, 5, and 23.
Yeah, when he shaved Vince's head, right?
Yep.
Another F4W Online had stated that Vince wants WWE to be a professional organization, and that it was explained to Alvarez, I believe Bryan Alvarez, I'll give him credit, by a source that while Titus was just messing around with Vince, it was, quote, one messing around too many, and Titus was used to make an example as the fall guy. I mean, I just feel that I don't understand. If it was any other company, I don't think they would have gotten away with with suspending their top black athlete during Black History Month. I mean, Titus O'Neil. I mean, he during Thanksgiving, after learning that a restaurant wouldn't serve homeless people, Titus O'Neil gathered them and treated them to a meal at the Yard House down in San Diego. So next to John Cena, Titus O'Neil does the most charity work of anybody in there.
What a nice African-American guy.
And yet he touches God, a.k.a. Vince McMahon, and gets suspended. I just kind of feel that I think the locker room needs to take a little bit of control back. And I know this is a little out there saying it, but back in the late 90s, you listen to people like Stone Cold Steve Austin, and like you said, they were able to come up with their own characters. They were able to work and have some work room to work with. Vince wasn't necessarily barking orders at them. They were kind of working with each other. But now it just seems more like a total, dictatorship where Vince is the man and that's it. And to the point where you can see that wrestlers are afraid to do certain things because they don't want to get reprimanded.
I was just listening to Taz's podcast. He literally just talked about those two things. One thing he was talking about is how back in the day in the locker rooms, Vince McMahon horses around with everybody. He wrestles people. He grapples people backstage just to fuck around.
Totally, yeah.
So and it's like, and then also he was just talking about as well. These young wrestlers, that have great minds that are just too afraid of losing their spot or their push for rubbing McMahon the wrong way. But he was also saying, though, that Vince McMahon, you can actually go to him with any idea, and he's not going to shoot you down, but he's going to ask, okay, if it's a dumb idea, why did you think that? What's your reasoning for this idea getting over? You know what I mean?
Correct.
So the thing is that they're just so afraid, but they actually could if they just, had a little bit of balls, but he set that kind of hierarchy, that God status that is almost, you can't really approach him.
Yeah, so
he approaches you.
And as a wrestler, and when you've been watching the product as long as we have, you can clearly see that nowadays it's affecting the wrestlers. It's affecting the product. It's affecting their performance. It's affecting everything.
Yeah, I mean, there's I can name like a handful of wrestlers right off the top of my head that could literally be a lot more over than they are.
Give me one.
Dean Ambrose.
All right, and so where do you think that the management's holding him back?
They made him into a freaking cartoon character.
They're turning him into a little bit of a cartoon character.
He needs to be this organic, natural guy. I mean, you kind of saw that a little bit this past week on Raw when he was, kind of one thing I actually want to talk about too was, him and Lesnar, how he was kind of not showing any fear, but then they played off instead of him just being, have a lot of confidence, a lot of courage. He's just crazy. Of course he doesn't care to go fight Brock Lesnar. He's a nutball. He's a lunatic. He belongs in an insane asylum.
Yeah, they're trying to tell you he's crazy versus letting him show the fans that he's crazy. Because again, they won't let him break out of a shell. It's just I kind of wanted let's remind the crowd, or let's remind the audience here of just who Vince McMahon is. I got a couple things here, kind of giving you a little bit of a history. When you're a heel like Vince McMahon, and on top of it, you run the company. I mean, it basically gives you license to do whatever you want. He booked himself in on-screen relationships with WWE's divas. He wrote himself to kiss, ogle, and fondle like a bunch of the women. Some examples.
I wonder how Linda feels about that.
Well, remember the storyline where he had Linda drugged?
Yeah, oh yeah, right before WrestleMania 2000.
Yeah, I think that might even be on here because the first thing I got here is like Trish Stratus in 2000, early 2001.
Did he make her like strip like into like her bra and panties? Like that was like some big thing.
Yeah, he made her strip down to her bra and panties, and then he made her get on the ground and bark like a dog.
Yep.
And Tori Wilson, Vince got to kiss her on screen. Then he was caught literally with his pants down by his wife Linda.
Remember when Stacy Keibler was trying to get hired and like threw her legs around his shoulders?
Yeah, so she did a seductive dance and to become his assistant on SmackDown. Although in actuality, the role could have been more correctly called Vince's secretary.
Secretary.
Another thing is, it may not be a surprise, but Vince McMahon is really into big, muscular physiques. He's a lifelong fan of bodybuilding.
Does this mean that Vince McMahon is bisexual?
I honestly wouldn't doubt it, to be honest. I wouldn't put that past him.
Okay, if any, what wrestler do you think that Vince McMahon actually hooked up with?
Let's see. Who would have Vince McMahon actually done anything?
Hulk Hogan.
You think so?
Maybe.
You think the Hulkster swings both ways?
I don't know.
What about? We already talked
Maybe
about.
That's why not letting him come back. Maybe he just wasn't putting out anymore.
We already talked about the Warlord doesn't sell the hand jobs.
Yep.
What about Brutus the Barber Beefcake?
Oh, he's for sure half gay.
Remember when he was wearing the masks and everything?
Yeah.
Maybe he was just covering all the jizz stains from Vince McMahon on his face. You never know. Vince McMahon has even sculpted his own physique. He tries to be, solid.
He is though. Vince McMahon is pretty ripped though for being like 71 years old. He's in better shape than me, and
Yeah, in 1990 he actually started the WBF, the World Bodybuilding Federation.
Who was the one guy? What wrestler did they use for that?
Lex Luger.
Damn right, the narcissist.
The narcissist, because he was also doing IcoPro commercials.
Yep, IcoPro. Remember that? Remember Razor Ramon was doing all that, and
yeah, but they were doing
IcoPro.
It was Vince McMahon's own idea of supplements, But I remember Bret Hart tells a story that he got his free IcoPro supplements and it tasted like shit, so he gave them away.
It's so funny because I remember seeing all those commercials. This is when I was we were 8 or 9 when that was going on 10, and I'm always like, what the hell is this IcoPro shit?
Right.
Yeah,
I had no idea what was going on. I thought it was maybe another company that they were just, but I didn't know until probably about 10 years ago that was actually Vince's company.
had a lot of successful businesses. Let's think about it. IcoPro,
the XFL,
which
their website's still up.
I know. I just saw that. The WBF, that was great, obviously.
Yeah, and
he did a wonderful job rebuilding WCW.
Oh yeah, great.
Brought that out.
Look at it.
Yeah, it's live and well today on the WWE Network for $9.99.
And then on top of all of that, in 1994, Vince was on trial for distributing steroids to his wrestlers.
That was in '94, huh?
Yeah, 1994.
I thought it was before that.
Many of them admitted that they did. All you got to do is look at the 1980s wrestlers, and you'll see that they. Just look at them. I think there was even a confrontation in 1992 after WrestleMania. Do you remember Nails?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember Nails.
Nails actually testified in court that Vince McMahon had ordered him to use steroids.
Do you want to know a fun fact about Nails?
Let's give it to me.
He wrestled in WCW as the prisoner.
As the prisoner. So he went did he go from the prisoner to Nails, or from Nails to the prisoner?
Nails to the prisoner.
Oh, he went. Okay.
Yeah, it's the same gimmick, same get up. I don't think he wrestled a couple matches. I think he had a match with Sting, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Stinger.
And then the last thing on Vince McMahon is that there's been long rumors of Vince having a love affair with cocaine. Some people say no. A lot of people say yes. Quote, wrestlers have said that he liked to brag with apparent justification that he can, quote, snort as much of that stuff as anyone can put in front of me and never get hooked. One former WWE employee said that the boys and former office staff use euphemisms when they talk about Vince's energy. You'll hear things like, "Oh, I just don't know where he gets all that energy." ... He just doesn't ever seem to sleep. With the inside joke being that he's 60-something years old and he's most likely a daily cocaine user. These are these are very recent allegations.
You think he's still doing it at this age?
Yes.
Wow.
Because even current wrestlers have stated that he only sleeps maybe 3 to 4 hours a night.
Yeah, but CM Bitch didn't sleep much.
And he's a bitch. So, Vince isn't a bitch. That's one thing I'll say.
Long story short, if you do not do cocaine, you are a bitch. So do as much of it as you can.
Yeah, because, it could also, because you figure if Vince is distributing steroids and distributing coke, drugs was allowing those kinds of things to happen.
I don't think it's like that nowadays, though. I've read a bunch of. I think nowadays, I mean, Vince McMahon still might be doing another thing, but I don't think the wrestlers are.
I don't think so.
I think all they do is sit around and play video games.
Yeah, it's definitely changed a lot. I mean, Hulk Hogan tells a story when he came back for his run, when he fought The Rock and everything, when he came back to WWE in WrestleMania 18.
Was it WrestleMania 18?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it was WrestleMania 18.
You got me.
I got him.
All right.
That was a shitty high five. Can we do that
One
again?
more. All right.
Nice.
You got me. So, and the thing is about that is that he ended up creating again a work environment that was very dangerous. Roddy Piper, in an interview with Bryant Gumbel I think it was 2000.
Rest in peace, Roddy. Rest in peace.
I think it was the early 2000s. Piper had said, quote, "Everyone's dead," Piper told Gumbel. Quote, "They're all dying early and nobody cares about it. They take them and they screw them up so much. The wrestling business has a great entrance plan, the quick fame, the adulation, the heights, but it's got no exit plan." At the time, Piper was still working because he couldn't get anything from his pension until he turned 65. He, quote, said, "I'm not going to make it to 65. Let's just face the facts, guys." Piper died at age 61.
He was a good guy. Remember when we met him?
Yeah, he's a great
nice
guy.
What did he say to us?
I don't remember.
I do. He said, "Wow." He's like, we could have gone out and hung out last night, but we would have been in jail this morning.
Oh, that's right. That was when we smoked bud with Larry Zbysko.
Yeah, we did. Oh, yeah. Fun fact, guys. We have smoked marijuana with the living legend himself, Larry Zbysko.
Yep.
And you gave ODB a beer.
I did give ODB a beer. And then I left a tweet to her on Twitter. So she's got a new hot sauce out. So if you go to our Twitter, you can find out where to get that.
Well, where's our Twitter at, though?
At EscapeTheCage31. And actually, you know what? I'm going to give out the email, too, because I didn't do that yet.
Yeah.
You can send us an email at escapethecage316@gmail.com or hit us up on Twitter at EscapeTheCage31.
I think we didn't we get some emails in already?
We did get some emails. Do you want to go to some questions? Or actually, here, real quick, I want to go through a list. I'm going to finish up on my Vince McMahon thing. I just want to go through a list real quick of some wrestlers that have passed away young. Just real fast. You got Chris Kanyon, who lived from 1970, died on April 2nd, 2010. He committed suicide by overdosing on antidepressants.
He was upset about being gay.
Sean O'Hare died September 8th, 2014. Kanyon was 40 years old, by the way. Sean O'Hare died in 2014. He was found in his home after committing suicide by hanging himself at age 43.
Jobber.
Mike Awesome died in 2007. He's another wrestler who ended his own life. He hung himself at age 42. Sensational Sherry, who died in 2007, was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2006 and was found dead from a drug overdose at age 49.
She used to scare the shit out of me.
Yeah. Bam Bam Bigelow died in 2007. He was found dead from an accidental drug overdose at age 45. Rick Rude died in 1999. He died at age 40 of an accidental drug overdose. Crash Holly died in 2003. He was found dead at 32 after an overdose on pills and alcohol, which was ruled a suicide. Big Boss Man died in 2004. He died of a heart attack at age 41. Umaga died in 2009 at the age of 34. He had 2 heart attacks due to a drug overdose.
I think we might have skipped one big name here that died from I believe it was a cocaine overdose
I'm
in
actually not done.
2002. No, I was going back. So aren't you going in chronological order?
I wasn't going in chronological order.
Well, my
Because
bad.
I think you're getting to one of these next people.
Okay.
Because the next person I got is Miss Elizabeth. She died in 2003. She died of acute toxicity due to painkillers and vodka. And I think this next person was who you were talking about, Mr. Perfect.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, Mr. Perfect, who was found dead in a hotel room at age 44 of acute cocaine intoxication.
He was good at everything, Mr. Perfect.
Yeah, he was a great.
Remember those old vignettes, and he'd make all the basketball shots. He'd make the hole-in-ones. He'd be hitting home runs.
Very underrated wrestler, and I think it might have been his alcohol and drug problem that made why he didn't get such a good push.
See, I'm going to disagree just a little bit on that. I don't want to steer off topic, but I think if you look back at all the fans, what people say about Mr. Perfect, he was one of the best wrestlers there was.
Yeah.
I mean, under Bret Hart, he was probably the best wrestler of all time.
Yes, I'll go ahead with that. And I'm going to finish my list, obviously, with Eddie Guerrero. He died in 2005. I personally think Eddie Guerrero is one of the more overrated wrestlers.
You think so?
Yeah. it said he was supposedly clean, but his years of abuse caught up with him, and he died of an enlarged heart at 38. I mean, I don't have the facts, but I personally feel kind of what we were just talking about. I think Eddie Guerrero was using steroids.
Well, let's be honest. I mean, come on. Let's look at Eddie Guerrero and what he looked like in WCW.
Even when he got into WWE.
No. I'm saying let's look what he looked like in WCW. Small as hell, like skinny, probably like 200 pounds soaking wet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you come to like 04, 05, dude just freaking jacked.
Ridiculous.
Same thing with Benoit, though. I mean, Benoit was always kind of big, but he got...
You could tell those guys were using steroids.
Yeah.
And so I think,
we're actually live right now in Chris Benoit's weight room, so if you guys didn't know that.
Yeah, we're broadcasting from Chris Benoit's weight room. So those are the people. Those are just some of the people that have died at a young age due to suicide related to alcohol and drugs. Where I was going with this is the fact that you got Daniel Bryan retiring from a concussion, and so it just seems that the WWE needs to work better on protecting their wrestlers. I know they've done everything they can, but maybe start treating these guys a little bit more like a sport rather than entertainment. You know, kind of respect these guys' bodies a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm just in our email account. We just got a live email in from John out in New York. His question to us is, well, how do we feel if wrestlers from today start dying young here in a few years? Do you feel like it's going to be the same type of thing, or do you feel it was just due all to the drugs and stuff back in the day?
I think it had to do with the drug abuse and the alcohol that was allowed back in the day, because like you brought up that a lot of the wrestlers nowadays backstage, I mean, they're playing video games, they're watching movies, they're hanging out. Whereas I don't know if I finished the Hulk Hogan thought, when he came back, he actually showed up with a couple cases of beer in the locker room, and he said that when he got in there, the guys were all looking at him like he was an alien, and they were like, "Well, why'd you bring beer? What'd you bring beer in here for?" And so you can kind of see that back in the day, it was probably more of like there's probably a lot of cocaine going on, a lot of alcohol, and then now with the new generation of athletes, they're taking better care of themselves, but you're still going to run into situations where, like with the NFL, how they're dealing with that. It's called CTE, I believe, where when they start getting a little older, they start concussion symptoms just catch up with them. They start becoming angry. They start getting dementia. So if anything, I don't think you're going to see wrestlers dying, but you may see, I don't want to say worse, but.
See, and John, by the way, thank you so much for emailing in the question. That's one of the, we've got a lot of emails to go through, but thank you so much. And my take on that, John, is yes, back in the day you had a lot of drugs, you had a lot of stuff like that, but nowadays if you actually look at the product, it's a lot more dangerous if you think about it than it was back in the day.
A lot faster.
It's a lot faster paced. There's a lot more acrobatic stuff. And you know what? This is a thought that just popped into my head. Do you feel that's one of the reasons why Vince McMahon has such a hard-on for big wrestlers? Because they aren't able to do some of those crazy style, fast-paced moves that all of us love, just to the fact that they might get injured. I mean, because if you think about it now, WWE's list of injured superstars is very, very high. I think I don't know what just happened during mid-thought there, but I think it was like a burp trying to come in or out. But
Let it out. There
it is. But yeah, I mean, think about it. Everyone's injured right now.
Yeah, I don't even know what they're going to do for WrestleMania. I think on the next show we should probably do like maybe a mock WrestleMania, and just do like a mock WrestleMania card, and then just see what we got to do as far as like maybe see if we can do like a guest booking kind of a thing and book WrestleMania.
We should do that. We should definitely have some like fantasy booking. That'd be good. What would Ronnie? I know this is. I know we're kind of just steering off topic, but you know you're going through your 37 pages of notes right now. Give me one match right now at WrestleMania that you would love to see.
One match at WrestleMania at the current WrestleMania.
Current WrestleMania.
With current wrestler or anybody?
With current wrestlers right now that you'd want to see. One match. I have a match that I would actually really like to see, and I think it would be amazing match. Phenomenal. You might know where I'm going right now.
I think I know. Where are you going?
Okay. You know the first person.
AJ Styles.
Okay. Versus Kevin Owens.
I kind of smells like that's what they're going with it. I kind of think that that's where they're going with the I don't know how they're going to incorporate the feud, like, because they're going to have to figure out, because they're going to have to go back to when Owens eliminated Styles from the Rumble. So
I just had an epiphany.
Let's hear it.
Triple threat. Now you can either do this for like an IC title, if it somehow gets to that point, or maybe just a maybe number one contenders match for a championship opportunity the next night on Raw, triple threat, Kevin Owens versus AJ Styles versus Sami Zayn. Tell me that would not be a sick match.
Okay, how would you bring Sami Zayn into the would you do kind of like a invasion thing as far as like Sami Zayn just coming to get revenge on Kevin Owens, or how would you bring him up from NXT?
So it's going to be a thing where Kevin Owens is just going to attack AJ Styles kind of out of nowhere, maybe during one of the matches. I limited you through the Rumble. You're just not in my league. You don't deserve to be here. You're in the business just as long as I made it here first. However you want to spin it, right? And then you have one thing where Sami Zayn kind of comes down, helps AJ Styles, and that they just kind of start something. I see.
No, there you go. Because they're going to need to do something as far as WrestleMania goes.
That would be a good wrestling match for WrestleMania.
Yeah. No, you're going to have a solid wrestling match in that. Even though they've kind of done it before, I kind of could see Fastlane going in the way of having Brock Lesnar be the one to win and fight Triple H at WrestleMania. And then maybe set up a scenario, if they're smart, set up a scenario between Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns with kind of one of them like teasing like who's going to turn on who heading into WrestleMania.
Yeah, I could see that. The only thing I'm going to respectfully disagree on is they already did the whole Triple H and Brock Lesnar thing at WrestleMania though a couple years ago. With the whole and Shawn Michaels was there and
true.
I know the Triple H wrestled Undertaker 3 times at WrestleMania, but we don't need. I don't feel that. I feel like Brock Lesnar needs to work with someone that he can help elevate.
What?
Stone Cold just called in. I could see. I'm not too sure who I'd want Brock to work with.
What?
Who would you?
Let's see. As far as Brock, there's nobody set up for him to work with. He already worked with the Undertaker. That's out the window. That's another person that they're gonna have to find an opponent for. So as far
what do you
as
think about Brock and Bray Wyatt,
Brock and Bray, they'd have to. They need to. I think it's too late. They should have had Bray Wyatt pushed as a more solid competitor by now.
I heard rumblings of maybe. See, here's what I kind of heard is that the Wyatt family might get involved in the triple threat match and screw Lesnar.
And then have Lesnar versus the Wyatt family?
Something like that.
Or Lesnar versus a couple of the members of the Wyatt family?
That's stupid. See, here's the thing. I really like the Wyatt family. I really like Bray Wyatt.
I'm loving the Wyatt family right now.
And I love Luke Harper. But Braun Strowman, man, I'm not quite sold on him, man.
Me neither. It's just that's another example, just like Roman Reigns, of Vince McMahon and his hard-on for bigger guys and just wanting a certain look. It doesn't matter. It just goes to show you that someone like Daniel Bryan or AJ Styles, they have all the talent in the world, and they didn't know what to do with the creative had no idea what to do with them. But then once you get these big guys in there that can barely move, they immediately have, all the ideas in the world of what to do with them. So,
all right. Well, why don't we take a quick commercial break?
All right.
And then we'll roll into the next segment. Don't we have a couple new segments coming up?
Yeah, we got some segments. I think maybe we're going to do some Stump the Mat right after this. And then, I think we'll go from there.
Yeah.
The crowd chanting, oh, and oh, and oh, and they love this young man.
I knew he was going to be good. I had no doubt in my mind. I had no idea he was going to be that good.
It was just great to be around him at all times.
I can't think of anybody that didn't like Owen. That's the kind of guy he was.
Owen was an extremely fun-loving person.
Every time I was around Owen, you couldn't stop smiling. He would always be doing something.
This is a young man destined for superstardom.
I'll never forget the first time I saw Owen Hart. And I saw Owen Hart do all of these things that I'd never seen before.
His legacy is that here we are all these years later, we're still talking about Owen. Never saw him, man, in a bad mood.
To me, Owen Hart always looked like he was enjoying himself. That was probably the most appealing thing about him.
He was amazing. He was amazing everywhere he went.
Welcome back to Escape the Cage. I'm your host, Rotten Ronnie.
And I'm your co-host, Mad Matt.
And that was a little snippet of the new Owen Hart DVD that I believe is released now called Heart of Gold.
And we're just promoting that just out of the kindness of our hearts, guys.
Just because we like Owen Hart.
Just because we like Owen Hart.
We want to break the show up a little bit. Want to change it around a little bit. So we're gonna go to. I think we have a couple more emails. I'm gonna do a Stump the Mat segment, and then one thing we talked about Braun Strowman being pushed.
And I have another segment as well in the show.
What is that? Are we gonna introduce a new segment?
I think we're gonna introduce a new segment.
And what's it called?
Should I just go through it?
What's it called?
It is gonna be called 5 things each week that pisses off Mad Matt, so you can see his mad side.
The M-A-double-D. The M-A-double-D.
M-A-double-T and the M-A-double-D in the same thing.
All right, actually, let's get right into that. So what do we got here? We got Matt's segment. We're going to go through, what's it called again?
5 things that have pissed me off this week.
5 things that have pissed Matt off this week. And then after that, we're going to go into the Stump the Matt.
And I'm not going to elaborate on these too much. First thing, Daniel Bryan retiring. Pissed me off. Okay? Titus O'Neil grabbing Vince McMahon and interrupting that special moment pissed me off. The Dudleys have not yet won a tag team title since they came back and become the 10-time champions. Pissed me off.
I'm digging the heel turn, though.
Okay. I am digging the heel turn. That is great. Another thing that has pissed me off is WrestleMania is lacking star power. Why the hell haven't they reached out to Hogan? Just make peace with the dude. Do you know what I mean? You're going to sit here and act like you really care about black people, and he said one word on a thing like 10 years ago. Whatever. Stupid. And here is the last thing that's really, really pissing me off. He just gets an opponent, and sure enough, little CM, little punk, he gonna pull out to his little back surgery. Oh, it's supposed to find a little bit longer.
Yeah, right as he gets an opponent, he schedules back surgery to postpone the fight.
He's gonna debut for like 3 years now.
He's never gonna fight. I don't even like. That's why we kind of don't talk about him too much because he's just a waste of time. The dude's a total waste of time, total waste of space.
Hey, he blocked the shit on Twitter?
Not yet. We're still playing the game. We're still hitting him up.
CM Punk, bitch, if you're out there and you hear this podcast, block us.
Block us right now.
Now.
All right. So let's end. We're gonna do some Stump the Mat, and then we're gonna get out of here for today. So let's see. So you ready, Matt? Are you ready?
I'm always ready
for the Stump the Mat segment.
Nobody can stump the mat.
Nobody can stump the mat. All right. So let's go here. Let's see. First question we got for you. Now, what was the main event of WrestleMania 18?
The real main event or the fake main event? The real main event was Hulk Hogan versus The Rock. Now, the last match on the card was Triple H and, Chris Jericho.
Good job, Matt. Good job. You got it. All right. So now we're going to go again. Who won Royal Rumble 2001?
Stone Cold Steve Austin, right when he came back.
Congratulations, Matt. You got it again. I think I'm kind of giving you some easy ones.
Go ahead.
Kind of feel like I'm giving you some easy ones.
Go ahead.
Let's see here. That's why you guys are supposed to send in your questions. Let's see what I got here.
And by the way, guys, I don't check the emails.
I've taken his phone away from him. By the way,
he's taking my phone away from me. So if you send the emails, he's the one who's on top of the email. So if you send him some questions, I won't be able to see them beforehand. He will just hit me with them.
All right. Are you ready, Matt?
Yep.
All right. Who won the Royal Rumble in 1994?
Well, that's actually a trick question because there were co-winners, Lex Luger and Bret the Hitman Hart.
But who won?
Who won? In my opinion, Bret Hart won. Luger's feet hit the ground first.
All right.
Would you or would you not agree with that?
That Bret Hart won?
Yep.
Yeah, fuck Lex Luger. He sucks.
He rolls around in a wheelchair.
All right. So I think we got a couple questions, and then I think we're going to finish up for today. Actually, one of the last things I wanted to talk about, why the fuck did did Vince McMahon have Ryback take off his colorful singlet? He was interacting with the fans. He was getting a character down. When he first came in, they were trying to keep him away from the Goldberg thing. And after, how long has Ryback been around now?
3-4 years.
And they finally had him. They're getting him solid. And then what do they? Now they've got him coming out in black trunks in the crowd chanting Goldberg again.
Exactly, looking like Goldberg.
What the fuck are they thinking?
There are talks that Goldberg might come back for a match.
But so what does changing Ryback's trunks up have to do with it? I don't understand what if anyone can write in and tell me, explain it to me, please. At Escape the Cage 31 on Twitter, escapethecage316@gmail.com. Please let me know, why the fuck did WWE change Ryback from his colorful, unique look to now putting him in black trunks and making him look like Goldberg again? Please let me know. Let me know.
I don't think anyone's gonna know.
So I got a couple emails, and I think we're gonna get out of here for today. So let's see. So one email I got here, this is from Steve in Oakland, wants to know who would win in a drinking contest, Stone Cold Steve Austin or Andre the Giant? What do you think?
I mean, as much as I love the Texas Rattlesnake, there was that story. I think Ric Flair told it, if I remember correctly. Or was it Roddy Piper, one of those guys? But he drank, was it like 134 beers? In
Something like that,
in
yeah.
a few hours sitting?
I think he drank like 14 bottles of wine, like right before he walked out to wrestle Hogan at WrestleMania 3. 14 bottles of wine.
Imagine you got to be a little drunk to get slammed, weighing that much.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Hey, fun fact, that actually wasn't the first time Hulk Hogan actually slammed Andre the Giant. Everybody made this huge deal about it. But he actually slammed him in 1980 at the Texas Stadium.
And Andre had actually been off his feet several times since then.
Yeah, no, Andre has actually been slammed like 5 times before WrestleMania. 5 or 6 times. There's a few wrestlers that have slammed Andre.
Yeah. I think Big John Studd did, didn't he?
I think Big John Studd did. I know Antonio Inoki did, I think,
Yeah,
in Japan.
in Japan.
Yeah, there's, I think Maurice Mad Dog Vachon slammed Andre the Giant.
Oh, wow. The
Yeah.
Vachon, that's old school.
Yeah, do you remember when they took his leg off during the Shawn Michaels Diesel match?
And
or
they
something
used
like
it as
that?
a weapon? Yeah, I remember. That was kind of creeped me out as a kid. I was kind of like, what the fuck are they
That
doing?
shit tripped me out.
So our next email is, this is from Kira in San Diego.
Wait, hold on. We had a girl email into the show?
We had a girl email into the show.
Chicks dig wrestling too, guys.
Chicks dig
Trust
wrestling,
me, if you're
man.
a single wrestling fan, there is a girl out there for you.
Yeah, just, brush the teeth, wash the hair, and, you got to wear the right wrestling shirts.
She might be missing some teeth, but she's your girl.
She wants to know, what are our thoughts on Lucha Underground? I personally think that Lucha Underground is the breath of fresh air that wrestling needs.
Love it. Absolutely love it. It's like, if I had to compare it to something, think of a show like an Arrow or like a Gotham or one of those dark, superhero type shows, and then you have wrestling matches in it.
Yeah, I love the backstory. I love the way they have it set up, the camera angles, the mood. I like that they have like the quote unquote temple in there. I watched the first episode. It was like Mil Mascaras was the champion, and he fought that. I think it's Alicia or.
I don't think, was it Mil Mascaras? Isn't he like an old wrestler?
I could be screwing it up. I believe it
I
is.
forgot his name. What his name is? I don't think it's Mil Mascaras. Is in like the Hall of Fame or something.
Here, I'm gonna look it up right now.
Yeah,
I'm gonna look it up right
I
now.
don't think it's Mil Mascaras. It's something like that though. They all sound alike. But crazy thing while you're looking that up, I just heard on JR's podcast. If you know who that is, that's Jim Ross. It costs Lucha Underground.
If you don't know who Jim
episode.
Ross is, stop listening to our show.
Yeah, please. By God, he's been broken in half. No, but it costs they said about 6 figures. They didn't give an exact amount.
6 figures?
Per episode.
What?
Yeah. But if you think about it, though, it makes sense. Look at it's really good quality.
6 figures.
Dude, that's like more than I make in a year.
I wonder how much it costs to run Raw. Because I guess I don't really have much to Mil Muertes. Not Mil Mascaras, Mil Muertes.
See, sorry, you got the mill part in.
Yeah.
Mil
Muertes. Muertes.
You can tell we're definitely Spanish.
I'm a white boy.
White boy? California.
So I think Lucha Underground is great. I think it's a breath of fresh air. I think it's what the wrestling business needs. I think that they've been running the same formula for the past 30 years. It's old, it's tired. It's just not doing it anymore. The fans know what's coming months before it happens. And then it's just they need to switch it up. They just really need to switch it up. And then I think the last question we're going to do, this is from Kurt in Queens, New York. Wants to know, do we watch TNA, and what are our thoughts on the product?
Here's the thing. I would watch TNA, but they switch so many damn channels. How the hell am I ever going to find it? They've had 14 shows on 14 different channels in the past 5 months.
Do you think it's just the fact of Dixie Carter just having the money to keep it going?
Absolutely.
And doesn't want to admit failure.
Here's the thing. It's almost like it's kind of similar, almost to WWE. And I'm going to explain what I mean by that. Okay, You know how Vince McMahon, it's all goes through Vince, is all what Vince's wants, right? Same thing over there in TNA. It's all what Dixie wants, and Dixie doesn't know how to run a wrestling business. That's why. That's why when she was kind of letting Jeff Jarrett kind of do it and kind of doing his thing, it was a lot better. I mean, TNA back in like 03, 04, 05, 06, 07, I would say up to maybe about 2010. Was really
a
sick.
solid show.
Solid. They took the legends, they incorporated them the right way. They had a lot of the younger talent. The X division.
I mean, you had Hogan and all kinds of people in there to point.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't.
He
do a
wasn't
great
doing
job
anything.
Yeah, but I mean, some of the matches, man. I always think back about the AJ Styles matches. Oh man, he was just.
Yeah, I actually just found pictures of when we went and saw TNA in San Diego, and AJ Styles was wrestling and Kurt Angle and everything.
Hey, how empty was that stadium though? Like that stadium literally holds probably like 12,000 people, and there was literally I think 3,000 people there.
Yeah. Well, you figure TNA they don't bring the numbers. I personally feel that wrestling works better in a smaller environment. I don't mind when they do the big stadium shows or when they try to sell out like a Super Bowl or like a football size stadium. I mean, it is. I mean, to be honest, unless you're spending hundreds of dollars, the views aren't that great. You're kind of just there to be there because the ring's so small and you're having to watch everything on the 50-yard line.
Hey, let me ask you this though. Obviously, WrestleMania always should be at a stadium. We know that. Do you feel that SummerSlam should be at a stadium? Because remember, they had a couple SummerSlams at some stadiums, and I thought they were pretty cool. I almost think like SummerSlam's kind of outdoorsy, have it like a baseball field,
No, yeah, I mean it's kind of cool. They could do something like to change it up a little bit. I actually like the fact, obviously, because I live in Southern California. When they were doing WrestleMania was an LA thing every year.
You mean SummerSlam?
What did I say?
WrestleMania.
Oh, SummerSlam was an LA thing every year. And I don't know why they're doing SummerSlam in New York. There's nothing about the East Coast besides. I mean, if they did it in Florida, that would make sense.
Fun fact: you know where the first SummerSlam was held from, right?
Where?
Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, that's an old.
SummerSlam '88.
Yep, that's an old arena.
And yes, I know the main event of that as well.
What is it?
Oh, that was the good old Mega Powers. Good old Mega Powers against Ted DiBiase, Andre the Giant, and the special guest referee Jesse the Body Ventura. Fun fact, how the match ended was Elizabeth actually took off part of her clothing to distract the other team.
What?
Distract the other team.
What?
She took off her pants.
What?
Her skirt.
What?
Turned people on.
What?
Got them excited.
What?
Showed some sex appeal.
That's the shit, bro. All right, let's get out of here. We're done. Oh, actually, oh, fuck. Can you believe it, Matt? We have a phone call from Vince McMahon. He wants to tell us something.
Yeah!
Oh, he must have been listening to the podcast.
Thanks, everyone. Escape the Cage 31 on Twitter. Email us, escapethecage316@gmail.com. I'm your host, Rotten Ronnie.
And I'm your co-host, Mad Matt, signing off.
And this is Escape the Cage. Get ready for Fastlane tomorrow on Sunday. Actually, we record the show on Saturday, so that's why we said that.
Is it tomorrow or is it? I think it's a week from tomorrow.
I think Fastlane's tomorrow.
Nope.
All right, we got to double check this. Sorry. We got to double check it. We don't even fucking know we're doing a podcast.
Yeah, I mean.
We don't even know when fucking Fastlane is, and we're doing a podcast on wrestling.
Yeah. No, I'm almost 100% sure it's a week from tomorrow, because tomorrow's Valentine's Day. February 21st.
February 21st is Fastlane?
Yeah.
All right, so we got another week. All right, so get ready for Raw on Monday.
Hey, real quick, what the hell are they even going to do at Fastlane? What are the matches they even have?
Vince McMahon claimed that he was actually asked at the recent board meeting where they have to speak in front of the investors, since WWE is a publicly traded company, and they straight up asked Vince, they said, how do you expect to put on your biggest show of the year when most of your wrestlers are out? And Vince McMahon's answer was with creative booking and creative development, he said that they're going to put on a show just as good as they did last year.
Well, yeah, I mean, you got like 75 writers backstage, so,
And not one of them knows anything.
Yep. Hey, by the way, this is also a invitation for WWE. If you ever need someone to help write your scripting, here we are.
Rotten Ronnie and Mad Matt will have that shit, I mean, you want ratings? Mad Matt and Rotten Ronnie.
Let's do, if you're open to this, either next week or at least leading up to WrestleMania. Why don't me and you put together a wrestling card?
That's what. Yeah, we're gonna do we're gonna do mock WrestleMania.
Let's do mock WrestleMania. Let's put together how many matches?
let's figure that out. We'll do that this week. We're gonna do a mock, and then next week we'll have a mock WrestleMania card for you guys.
Email in your fantasy booking as well for WrestleMania, and we'll read it on air.
Yeah, and send us anything, comments, whether you tell us to fuck off or you tell us we're awesome. Again, we're not trying to be like anybody else. We're trying to be our own thing. If you like our perspective, you do. If you don't, you can fuck off. I guess this is the third sign off. This is Rotten Ronnie.
Mad Matt.
And we'll see you next week.